And it's unclear whether the Senate is going to take up essentially a marriage equality bill. I think it's, I'm not sure exactly what they
wanted to
it.
pass chips first, and then they were going to whip the votes to get the marriage equality bill, which is a idiotic tactic. You make the Republicans vote on it, and you don't let them get their bearings. And if they want to vote against gay marriage, fine, use it against them in the midterms. This is, you have to blitz them with this. I don't understand why Schumer has not learned from everything in the past 2 years. You can't let Republicans get their bearing.
It's fascinating. You have 70% approval for marriage equality in this country. But the problem is that other 30%, a huge portion of that 30% vote religiously for Republicans. And so they've got a dilemma. Some of the people in the Senate. Here's Charlie Kirk interviewing Congresswoman Lauren Boebert on the Charlie Kirk Show.
Yeah, so like many pieces of legislation, this was absolutely rushed through. It didn't go through all of the markup process that we have in committees, and there weren't actual hearings on the legislation. And they really have launched an all-out assault on America's traditional values. But this bill was unnecessary. Look, I think the federal government should not be involved in marriage. My marriage between my husband is really between me and God, not between me and the government. But this was absolutely unnecessary. They have attacked.
I'm sorry, but if it's an individual contract, then the government has the right to recognize it. You want to just make it an individual contract, that's fine. You don't get any tax benefits. You get zero tax benefits. You don't get hospital visitation rights that are recognized on a federal level. None of that is going to happen for you. If you say it's between two people, it's an individual contract between two people, then you don't get the benefits from it. The government should, I think, recognize contracts between two people, but you're saying that the government needs to stay out of it.
They make it a rather like a civil contract. They simply make it a religious contract.
Right.
They can have their religious covenant that she can make with her husband, and but you never hear the Republicans talk about the idea that we should strip things like marriage from our tax code or all of the benefits that come from it, because of course it's absurd. And the point isn't for her that she doesn't want the government involved in it. The point is they don't want the normalization of gayness, essentially.
Yeah.
And so that's the problem. There is no workaround for them here, because anything that in any way normalizes gay people is problematic for these religious fundamentalists.
And notice, too, quickly how upset she was that they rammed it through. Notice, Senate, notice that this is a good way to get them off kilter and honestly use it for your political advantage.
Look, I think the federal government should not be involved in marriage. My marriage between my husband is really between me and God, not between me and the government. But this was absolutely unnecessary. They have attacked our institutions. They have weakened the nuclear family and undermined masculinity and even femininity. And the people who can't even define what a woman is now wants to get in the middle of defining a covenant between a man and a woman and God.
Yeah, I get that. Why did 47 Republicans vote for it? The Democrats are obviously, they're despicable, but 47 Republicans shouldn't be.
Right, because they don't want attack ads. They are absolutely afraid of attack ads, and unfortunately...
Is that really the whole thing?
It always is the thing. That always is the conversation that is taking place on the House floor.
Build that out for us. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
So you're in the House floor, and people are saying, like, obviously paraphrasing, I'm going to go vote for homosexual marriage because I'm afraid of television ads?
Yes, Charlie. This happens on a regular basis, whether it be infrastructure, whether it be funding, whether it be sending more money to Ukraine.
Which is insane.
It is insane. All of it is insane. But they do not want the political attacks to come against them. And Charlie, I arrived in Washington, D.C. on attack ad, so I'm not really afraid of another one.
It could be a signal boost if you handle it correctly, by the way.
Absolutely.
Oh, boy. But yes, I mean, on some level, she's absolutely right. The reason why 47 Republicans voted for it was because 70% of the country is in favor of marriage equality, and there's about 47, I would say, Republicans who live in districts that are not dominated by fundamentalist Christians. And that's what, and there it is. And the problem really comes for those Republicans in the Senate, because they don't want to vote against this bill if it comes up.
Nope.
But they also don't want to vote for it. And so they're all pretending like, why are we doing this? It's a total waste of time. Like Lauren Boebert says, this is a total waste of time, except for the fact then she also says in the same breath, basically outlines how she is trying to marshal all the forces against this complete destruction of the, our traditional values. I say, if you're going to put the traditional values in, do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Women are the chattel, that type of thing.
Oh yeah. Go full bore.
Child labor laws. Out. Gone.
Well, it's just, I am just frankly shocked that Schumer, as soon as these bills come through from the House and from they passed the contraceptive bill, did they not as well? You just put
the House did.
The House did, right? Put both of them on the floor now. Yep. Do it now. And you have to act with the right acts.
People have got to take their vacations.
Oh my God.
And they
can't walk and chew gum at the same time because they got to do chips. Like, they passed chips. Okay, now it's the afternoon. I know you guys are probably taking your third nap of the day, but go and pass this now, because
we could chew gum and walk at the same time, but then
it's a little exhausting.
We could trip. So
okay, because Thomas isn't playing around with this. He literally signaled this in his concurring opinion, that they're going to go after Obergefell. They're going to go after Griswold. They're going after these Republican state legislatures. Come to me with that. Come to me with that. And I will help overturn this and make these states' rights. So that's why Lauren Boebert and other Republicans are so up in arms about this. And that's why you have to blitz them. Go on the offensive. Now is the time, especially in the wake of Roe, when this is at the forefront of people's minds. But Schumer wants to whip votes. That's actually going to have, you're going to allow them to come up with a strategy to combat this if you don't just go right away. And I mean, I feel like they've already lost momentum on this.
It's like Vichy Democrats, honestly, just rolling over constantly.
That's what we used to call them back in the blogosphere days.
And my last point on this, too, is notice how her arguments about same-sex marriage are fairly indistinguishable, or this bill in particular is indistinguishable from how, like, Senate Republicans who are perceived as more respectable are talking about this. Why do we even have to do this? It's ridiculous, because they are the same. She is the same as she is the same as John Cornyn. They are all in the same extremist party, and I just making that clear. Her and Marjorie Taylor Greene are not distinct in any way.